Hello, everyone. This is Ami Diamond for the SharePoint Wizard YouTube channel. I would like to invite everyone to join us with two honorable guests, Inea Likac and Vesa Nopanen. And Inea, can you give a couple of words about yourself, introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Vesa?
Yes, of course. My name is Ania Likai, and I'm a Power Platform consultant working for a middle-sized IT company in Germany. And so I'm also a tech lead on the topic Power BI, but I also work with projects in the Power Apps Canvas and Power Automate as well. So also with a little bit of the known other tools like SharePoint, Forms. So almost the whole Microsoft 365 domain. Vesa,
And you,
back to you.
Vesa, how about you?
Thank you. My name is Vesa Nopanen. Everybody calls me Vesku, so you can go ahead and use that one. And I'm from Finland. I'm a principal consultant for future work. Basically, it includes Metaverse, AI, Teams, M365, and everything in that sense, whatever is making our modern work to the next level, you could say. And I work for Sulava, which is a medium-sized company here in Finland, which is usually smaller than medium-sized company in Germany, for example. So there's about 130 of us here in Finland, but we also have an office at Dubai, which is nice and warm. Unfortunately, I won't be visiting too often there. But we are also part of the network, which is called the Digital Neighborhood. Sulava is part of that. So in a sense, there's 1,300 colleagues of mine because there's 13, 14 companies combined in this network. So this is the environment where I work in. So, and what I love about that, because there's a connection to community in there, it's a network of companies. It's just network of people, and we are working with. So it's just not like you are working here and on this one, but instead it's spreading out. That's the modern world, or we are in today. And I work with a lot of things. Microsoft Teams is, of course, something I started with, and I'm still deep in the Teams world, you could say. But of course, anything Microsoft 365. I've been doing a bit of Power Platform as well, now and then, sometimes even a bit more, but it's all connected. That's the thing. I put
Same
my hands
ecosystem,
everywhere.
right?
Yeah, it is. Everything is supporting each other, and so
And that's the
how
cool part, working with the Microsoft tools, right?
Yeah.
it is. It definitely is.
Now, is your hat more architectural or governance or a combination or implementation, consultancy, or is it
I'm a consultant, like it says on the
okay?
title. No, but I'm on more on the consultant. I'm kind of a in advisor role, but I'm sometimes like proof of concepting role as well. And so I can even train people. I do that sometimes as well. So I can train companies, or I can train management groups. So kind of you could say that generally I work with marketing, with sales, and with businesses, and trying to bring out the high level vision where everything is going. But I'm also connecting that with the so-called real work as well. So doing stuff and demoing and putting hands on whatever is there, and of course staying up to date about everything.
But to support Amy's question, because at least in Germany, when you say consultant, because I'm a consultant, but maybe because of I'm not a principal yet. I'm too young for that, and I don't have your experience. But at my level of consultancy, I also do a lot of development. For example, no? I also do a lot of trainings. That's why it's for my case also. I cannot say that I only do consulting. I do a mix of all of them. And so
Yeah, that's usual. That's happening in Finland as well. So it's not a difference. It just depends on what's your role and what you're doing. Some people are, whatever is happening, they're always consultants. But in kind of deep down, they may be architects or developers or And like you asked about, is it a governance, security, something else? So each of us have a different role or position and passion.
Yeah, but what I noticed is that the higher you gain, the more experience you gain, the less development you do. No? So you do more consultancy because your expertise is asked in many places, and you have less time to develop yourself the solution. So I understand.
Yeah, that's true. That's happening too. And well, I was a developer when I started, so that was a long time ago. That was in 90s. So
what was your background or journey to the 365? Did you start with on-premise or even other?
well, I was doing before it was you could say it was all on premise when I started. And
Yes.
actually when I started as a developer. I was doing code with Visual Studio, and there was no talk about SharePoint or anything else because SharePoint didn't exist in mid-90s.
Before 2003, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. Now I forget the term, but it was called something else. But it was around 2000 when it came, but then it changed name. So it was there 2000, 2001, and then it started to be with SharePoint services. So yeah, I started with on-premise back then. But when I was developer, then I was doing a lot of SQL. I was a database admin and developer back then. And of course, then I was starting to move towards broadening my expertise, picking up IT pro stuff, SharePoint, for example, and then moving towards the BI, business intelligence part. That aligns with SQL Server very nicely, reporting services and stuff, and analysis services. And then ending up doing some project management, and from there you end up as a consultant. You are doing everything. But the cloud came in for me about the Microsoft 365. It was about 2011, probably the first steps in there. 2012, it was already happening in a lot.
As you mentioned, Teams is quite your focus, and I wanted to ask you first of all. You also have a blog. I noticed that you write, and which is very good, and I'll recommend everyone to go in and read it. The question is, how do you see the future of Teams? Will that be the major? Oh, what features in the future do you think will be the most effective and things that will affect the user for productivity and stuff? What do you see the future that you can reveal, of course, under NDA? Yeah. Oh, not NDA. Yep.
Yeah, no NDA stuff here.
No.
Of course, besides Copilot, you mean?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
everything is happening with AI and more and
Yeah.
more. Of course, AI is in the core. It's going to be the productivity driver for everything. It doesn't matter if it's Teams or SharePoint or something else. We'll be talking with the computer in a different way from now on and to the future. And if you think about the role Teams has, it's still going to be in the collaboration part. It's going to be in meetings. It's going to be a kind of user interface for work in many places. I don't think it's going to change from that. We still need to be able to meet people. We need to do our work. We need apps as well, more or less. But it's going to be slightly different with Copilot, because with Copilot you will be accessing those apps in new ways. So Teams may not be the kind of the app launcher it is now for some people or some organizations, but you are using more apps through the natural language interface. But as well, we know we've been in this trade for a long time. We know you will need user interfaces, so you will need apps as well. So it's going to be more like depending on the user. What is what you are doing? What are you needing? Are you going to be using more apps, or are you doing things through Teams, or are you using just your mobile phone with Copilot? and being productive there. So it's a complex answer because there's no clear way. But think about
Yeah.
SharePoint. It's been there for a long time, over 20
Yeah.
years.
And
And
let's
It
yeah.
has evolved a lot, right?
yeah, it has evolved a huge time. And at some point of history, it was starting to look, okay, what's going to happen with SharePoint? And then Jeff Deeper kind of revived SharePoint totally, reinvented it. And so it
Who?
became
Sorry.
more like reinvented, like
No, who did that?
Jeff Deeper.
Ah,
Okay, he's now a president at Microsoft, but he was
yeah.
basically in charge of SharePoint or
Yeah.
owning the SharePoint. And then he started to own the Microsoft 365. And now he's got even a bigger role there. So he's basically the father of SharePoint, so you could say that. And
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
our
Also
platform
Mark
people don't
Castaner.
know it that much, but
Yeah.
I guess you knew that from the heart, of course. Who can miss that? So what I was saying, SharePoint's role is it has evolved. Like it was first, it was a interface. Then you, of course, it became more and more background service or backend service, or a platform. Now it's more clearly a platform, but it has multiple roles. You run your intranets or sites there, but it's also hosting files for Teams, OneDrive, everything. It's hosting
Yeah.
the information for Loop, and so there's it has a very different role than it had. So Teams is evolving as such as in that way, because it's going to be, it's already de facto. It's there. It's one piece of the ecosystem. It's something we have gotten to use. It's the user interface for a lot of things, or for most of things. So that's how it's going to be used, but also it's in a way it's also a platform hosting different services. It's platform for apps as well, and platform for Power Apps or Power Platform solutions. So that's kind of there isn't like one clear role, except for perhaps Outlook. Yeah, you send and receive emails and do meetings. But if you say Exchange, then it's going to be much more complex again.
Yeah.
So
I need to follow up on that you just said about Teams becoming more and more. So that's also a feeling that I have, because Microsoft is trying to bring even almost all apps in Teams. They wrote a while back ago Power Apps for Teams, and then Power Automate and approvals and so on and so forth. So what do you think about? I like not having to switch between 20 apps. That's okay, but when it starts the performance to become worse and worse, or the experience as a user to become worse and worse, then I'm happy to switch on a dedicated application. I don't need to have everything on one place. So what do you think? Is that a trend going to continue, or how do you see that?
Well, as you have noticed, there's now new teams. The old teams is going away
Which
in
is
a month.
faster. Yeah, much faster.
So the performance was one of the issues there, and it got more and more features and capabilities, and the way it was designed originally, it wasn't that optimized clearly. So they rewrote Teams in that sense, and so we have new Teams, and it's much it's like kind of written in a modern way, so they can extend that, and it's twice the speed the old one. But it's not the number of apps that's going to slow it down, because with apps you are just opening them, you are running them. It's but the more you have, like with the old one, it was very clear that you have a lot of teams. It has lots of like information. It has a lot more features in meetings and everywhere. So the overall capabilities were kind of starting to add up. So with the new one, they of course were solved huge number of these issues they had. So I don't think that's in directly the performance is not going to thing. There's going to be, of course, things like well, you said the approvals. it makes sense to be inside the teams because it's
Yeah.
the flow of work. And it depends how you are ending up on the approvals. You get the notification and then you go and open the approval, or you can approve it already.
Yeah.
Or actually, if you are using Outlook and you get the approval there as well, so you can sign it off there. So I think that's a benefit, and I don't see because not everything is open at the same time. Then it would be the issue you're talking about, like you would have interface that's more and more richer than it is now, puffing up with a huge number of information happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
I actually remember that they said there will be a possibility maybe to work offline with Teams, meaning you type, you're not connected, and then when you're connected, it will send it just like you're working in OneDrive offline. Or that's a cool feature. It's a small one, but it might be very effective. So
But
that's
for
really
the files, because meetings, even I mean, if you have a meeting with yourself, but that cannot
no.
work.
It could be a chat. No, it could be a
Yeah.
chat. It can be you can record
Channel
something.
conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can do. Think about what you can do offline. There is you can reply to some of those chats. You can go to the channel and have to continue the conversation a bit. And when Teams
Yeah.
comes online, it will sync them. And with files, of course, that's the OneDrive. You can use that with the offline files, and then it will sync the changes. So, and in Teams, there are those capabilities already in a lot of them, but it's not like, hey, everything is working offline. Far from that. You can't start a meeting offline, for example.
Yeah.
But you can at least catch up on something. That's the
I
thing.
think
And I think it's not about fully the offline work. It's about how resilient Teams is for slight network interruptions. If you are traveling, you are in a train or somewhere, you don't have a constant internet, or it's breaking down. That's when the offline work really shines, because you don't actually notice that unless you are in a meeting.
Yeah.
No, but in general, I'm very happy with the new Teams. I tried it as soon as it was on my tenant, but I had problems with syncing the calendar and so on. So I left it for a couple of months. I said, okay, let the early birds do that, and then complain to Microsoft. I will jump in when it's safe. So now I've moved since a couple of weeks, or I think almost a month or so. And I'm really happy. The performance is night and day. I remember my laptop going like a helicopter with the old one, and now it's just quiet like a cat.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. I have another topic. I've seen that you have also dived a bit deeper into the whole Microsoft Mesh technologies as well. I am a complete noob on that sector, so I haven't tried it, and I've not read anything big except of one or two of your posts. So not much there. So I would like to ask you, maybe you can tell us a little bit what Mesh is, what it can do, and maybe we can continue on that topic.
Okay. Mesh is Microsoft solutions for virtual reality. So it's a virtual reality platform. You can build on your worlds, for example, and you can meet people in a very different way than you do with 2D, like we are now. The good thing is that it's running inside Microsoft 365. It's inside your tenant. So the security and compliance stuff is already applied in, as compared to some other platforms that are running outside of Microsoft 365, because our data is inside the Microsoft 365 tenant. So that makes sense that, okay, we can trust the virtual reality platform that's in there. And so it allows us to meet in a different way. It gives us more presence in a very in a new way compared to just to have a meeting.
It uses
let's
the
say normal
avatar,
meeting.
right?
You are using the avatar, and that's what I was just thinking about. Like in normal meetings, a lot of people don't have their camera on, for example.
Yeah.
So they are faceless, or you have a static phase.
Also after Corona, it got better. Before Corona, it was even worse.
Yeah, it was even worse. But also with the Corona, we are working more and more in a hybrid environment. So we are working from remote locations, and we are not meeting our team members that often. So you need to have a way to be like to meet them as well. When we are doing these Teams meetings from hour to hour, day to day, it's kind of very routine. So
Yeah.
you forget things easily. But if you are doing that in 3D, you are going to virtual world. You can actually walk to the guy or a couple of people there and start talking. So the spatial audio is one of those things I like, because you have, again, the location matters. Just like we are in an expo hall or somewhere, we can group up, talk about the topic, then we can move and do something else. Or we can have the content inside or play games, even if you like to. So in that sense, it gives a whole new level to the meeting. No, it's not like you want to go through some of the documents or something like that. It's not a thing. It's about how do we ideate together, talk, and have some more different way how we can interact with each other, and of course with the environment. So it's giving us new possibilities. And there's two sides of mesh. There's mesh in Teams, and so you can change an ordinary Teams meeting to immersive 3D meeting. So you are dropped into the world, and you can meet there, have fun, or enjoy the environment and talk to each other. And of course, people can share the screen, and you can still participate from there. But thing is that what you can't do in Teams meeting is I can't lean to Ami and say something to you, like
So it has like a
quietly.
proximity chat or something like that. Right?
Yeah. That's the spatial audio means that if you are close to some people, the voices are louder, and so you can go back and talk in a small group, and the others are not going to hear you. Or if they walk by, they hear something, and that's when they decide if they want to join or not. So you have it's you can think about like meeting people at the office in that sense. Okay, it's not the same as meeting face to face, but you get to know people's avatars as well. Yeah, no, they don't have legs. I hope they will at one day, but I'm happy that the avatars work as they are.
They're like those like Pac-Man floating.
No, well, yeah, you don't have legs, but you have the rest, and so you can, of
body
course,
up. Yeah.
yeah, you have body and head and arms, and I think that's a cool thing. And of course, if you are using virtual reality headset, then you are really in immersive side. Then you are in the meeting, you are inside it, so inside with the others, and that's when it's changing a lot of perspective. But also, it's good to realize most of the people won't be using the headsets. The more interesting part, sorry, I usually talk very long.
It's fine. We're fascinated. We're fascinated.
The other side that's more interesting with mesh is that you can develop the custom worlds. You can create your own worlds, and you can create your own content, your own interactions there. So in there, you can, of course, you can have buttons if you like, or whatever you need to. You can have a digital twin of something that's living in real world, and you can bring in the information and show that in 3D. You have a sense of scale in there. It's something totally different that you are showing in the screen. Okay, how do I know if something is big or not, or how it relates to something? And so in the 3D environment, you can really see that, because you can walk around it, and you can see it from different perspectives. But in that world, you can build experiences. So, for example, onboarding is one of the very easy experience. You have things people need to learn. Perhaps they need to check out they need to get to know the office or the factory site before they are actually even putting their foot inside.
Yeah, like onboarding and so on. Huh?
Yeah, onboarding. Yeah, and
Is
learning
that
the
in
ropes.
Teams? That's not out of Teams?
That's out of Teams. That's through the Mesh application. So because there's two sides of Mesh, at least at this point. So, but the something what you can do with this custom world, of course, it's you can bring information and present it in a very new way. And as with Teams, the collaboration is a key. So when you are in there with others, so you can, for example, have the 3D model of something, and you have your design team looking at that, and you can talk about that model. It's not like showing that on the screen and somebody is moving it around, but instead you are all in there. You can point to the model, to the specific place, and say, okay, I don't like that part, for example. So there's a huge amount of possibilities what you can do there. Of course, it's good to realize you can't do it to use that for everything. You have these use cases. One of the use cases that's not really a productivity part, but it's about well-being, is having those free-form meetings. You can meet with people, fool around a bit, and have fun, perhaps then show around some information team meeting or something like that. And so you can gather up and have that sense that you are with the others in there. Because that's the difference between Teams and those, is also that we are seeing the faces if they have camera on, but if they don't have them, it's pretty faceless stuff, especially if you have a lot of people in the meeting. But when you are in the virtual reality side, you can see others who can be grouping up or walking around, and it's much more living in that sense. So you can call that metaverse if you like, but it's virtual reality in this part. But whatever you want to do with that depends if it's part of the metaverse or not. Because what I like about is integrations, how you can integrate things to the real world, and so you can reflect the real world to the virtual side as well. So it can be really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, you had a question about integrations with Mesh. Would you like to?
Yeah. So as a Power Platform consultant, I'm just curious to know what can Mesh bring into the Power Platform world. But I don't. Maybe not from the development perspective. So I don't expect that you go into the Mesh world and then start writing a Power App and so on.
No.
But maybe, I don't know, collaborating on a Power BI report and so on. I don't know, like presenting the CEOs and whoever there is, like a new report that you built, and the KPIs and so on. Maybe something like that would be possible, or is possible.
Yeah, it is possible. So you can bring in the situation, build a situation room. So you can show more. Like in Teams, you have one screen share. You go there, and you have like 5 reports on the wall. Okay, there are some technical limitations at the moment, but you can show them if you want.
Okay.
And so that's one way to put the Power BI there and show the dashboards, or show something else. You can bring in the websites.
So can you also interact with that website or that Power BI report? Can you like you can on the web browser?
I think it's a web browser based. I haven't tried the Power BI report actually. I have to admit. But with the website, you can interact with the site. So I can scroll it and
possible.
So,
by the way, the Vision Pro just came out. I'm wondering if you have had the opportunity to test it with the Metaverse Mesh. Not
no, not yet. Vision Pro and Mesh don't really work together yet. So if you can use the Meta Quest headsets with Mesh, so 2 Pro and 3.
Okay.
So Vision Pro is not on the list, but Vision Pro had a lot of other cool stuff, like you could run the M365 apps inside that. So you have the productivity apps there, and that's something I would love to try.
And those are optimized for the Vision Pro? So the right resolution and so on?
Yeah, so the released apps, so you could use them with the Vision Pro, so you can have, I guess, Word and stuff. You can now have a Word and PowerPoint and Excel in MetaQuest devices as well. So you can open them in there and check out the screens. And at first, it's not something you really want to do if you want to really do something.
Yeah.
But if you are reviewing something and you want more screens, that's because then you can have, okay, let me put the Word document there, the Excel there, PowerPoint there, and I can look around and compare information. And so I have basically 3 screens because it's extending the way I can look around. Especially if I have just the laptop screens, it can be a bit small for that kind of work.
So to recap what you just said, it's good for presentations, for meetings, for showing stuff, but not for developing and actually doing some.
Not for development, and you are not yet generating content in Mesh.
That's what I mean.
But I think the yet is still there because the future is changing. Everything is changing now. Think about Copilot. Think about AI.
Yeah.
It's not possible to do yet, but it will be. So I'm putting my. I believe it's going to happen. So we could, for example, use the speech to text in Mesh. That's when we can start generating content. For example, if you have Copilot there, because it will have a Copilot. We saw that at the Ignite video. So the other application of Mesh would be like Copilot in Mesh. Okay, help me generate content. Now we have seen how Copilot can generate your document draft from the prompt. Okay, if you are using your voice to draft something, then you have the couple of other people who are working at the same thing. You are in an immersive side compared to Teams meeting where we can talk. It can be a very different environment, like you are ideating something, you are innovating. It's not about staring at the document and typing it down.
Meeting minutes, maybe. We're in the Metaverse and meeting minutes from Copilot.
That's already in Teams.
Exactly.
Of course.
I have a question. About recording the experience, because Metaverse is more experiencing, but I guess in a meeting when you record, you go with your avatar. Well, the question is, if in meetings will it record the avatar and the mesh environment? One.
Nope.
And second, if it's an experience, then can it be recorded, or is it just you there and there's no expectation to record the experience there?
I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but currently you can't record it out of the box. Of course, we have OBS, we have other tools, we can record the screen, and that's how you record it, and you can catch the voice. So you can do that kind of recordings quite easily, but just not from inside.
I see.
Difficult. So I had a question about the hardware, because imagine, I don't know, we want to use it in our company. So I need one, the other 300 people who are in the call maybe need also each one, right? So it's, I don't know if that's even possible nowadays.
You're talking about the headsets?
Yeah, I mean the hardware. So the headsets.
The virtual reality headsets. It's not expected that it's expected that most of the people won't have a headset. Mesh runs on your laptop, so there's a Mesh application, so you can run it on your screen. And if you have a large screen, it's more immersive than, of course, than the small one. So if you run Outspace Spatial or anything else, you can. It's one thing to go. You can use them on your laptop, and just you don't have to buy anything extra for that. But when you start using the headset or get in there with the headset, of course the perspective changes. So, for example, to onboarding, there might be a pool of headsets for new people, and they use them for a month or two, and then it goes for the next one. So, or there's some specific work tasks or things they are doing. That's where they have reserved a set of headsets people can use there. Or you have a showroom. For example, people can come to the real showroom, and then they put on the headset, and then they can go and browse the factory fully without going there, for example.
So you can have like a mixture of audience and people, no? So some have the headset, some have not the headset. They can still go into that mesh.
In Teams,
some in 2D, some in 3D. Huh?
in Teams, in immersive meetings, mesh in Teams. That's some people can be on Teams normally. They can be on phone if they want to, and some people can be in mesh. When you're using the mesh application is currently the only way to come in, but you can have people using laptop and you can have people using headsets. So so that's not an issue.
I have a question, Zoe. What's the difference between immersive and augmentive? Right? There's augmentive reality and immersive. So you probably know the difference. For me, it sounds the same. So.
Well, augmented reality is kind of mixed reality. So let's start with the immersive one. The immersive one, when you are inside of the environment, usually it's virtual reality. You are in there, you are fully immersed in some other world. So you are not seeing your surroundings in that in there. So it's not a mixed one. So it's just virtual and you are in a different space. But when you are then doing the mixed reality, then you are mixing the real world with the virtual data. So, for example, with holograms. HoloLens is a good example of this. So you are seeing the real world and you can bring in virtual objects to the space and you can interact with them as well. So you can, for example, if you have, let's take that steering group or leaders example. You are in some kind of room, or you are walking in through the production line with the virtual mixed reality headset. So you can see, of course, what's happening around you in normal world, but then you could be seeing all the numbers or data from these devices or from people, from productivity, whatever, when you are going through that. So you can get extra information. Or when you are, and this is when it goes something like mixed and augmented reality are very, very different. So for some people, there's a big difference, and some people, it's the same. But generally, mixed reality means mixing the digital information with the physical one. And augmented is usually you are bringing on something that's enhancing the experience. So this is then also an area for mixed reality / augmented reality, is that you are a maintenance person and you need to pinpoint a device from somewhere. So you are walking around and you know it's actually buried inside the wall. So you can't see it from the outside.
Yeah.
But now if you have a mixed reality headset and it's aligned to the space with all the information, so you can see inside the walls and see where the wires go or pipes and devices are, then you know, okay, it's in this location. And this is where I'm going to open it up and do that. And it goes way beyond that as well. But that's the very easy example. Like, okay, you can bring in information that enhances the physical reality in ways that you can't understand. But in Power Platform, you have mixed reality as well. I don't know how you try it.
In Canvas apps,
Yeah. So you can do the mixed reality part, and using the iPad or phone, you could have a similar experience. So it doesn't have to be a headset, because we know headsets are bulky. They are not very ergonomic. Some people can't wear them even 15 minutes because they get a headache. Some people can use them for 2 hours and no issues. And so that's one of those things. That's why it's important to have this so-called 2D experience as well for all this.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, we went to the metaverse side, and yeah, this is an endless pit. I can talk to you forever about things,
I mean,
like cool
yeah,
stuff with the AI and metaverse. Yeah, that's going to change the world a lot, and that's going to
I'm
change
sure
industry.
for our children, it will be very natural, and for us, it will take more time to adopt. But they will just grow into it, and for them, it will just be easy to join or to adopt. And for us, it
Yeah.
will need to adjust.
Yeah.
Well, they are
Hopefully,
already adjusted.
Yeah.
hopefully
Well,
our kids will also enjoy a little bit the nature, the real world, not only inside the
uh,
glasses.
Yeah, they won't be using glasses because it's too bulky, except for some occasions. Of course, I'm waiting when we have mixed reality glasses like this one, and that's when it's going to be a totally different,
Yeah.
of
I
course.
have also a question, a last question from me. You're a big part of the community of the Microsoft community. Is there like a specific community who is also interested in this whole mesh topics and technologies, or is it just a typical Microsoft Power Platform 365 community?
Well, for mesh slash metaverse, of course, there's different different communities. You could say there are different groups. There are different places where people are meeting, and of course also events, because well, there's several events around the matter. I'm hosting one of those myself, the Metaverse
Okay.
one. Was there, and we were
wow,
collecting, of course, people. That was on last September, and you want to stay tuned at Teams Nation. Probably when
it's
this
next
goes
week.
out, Teams, it's next week.
Next week.
When are you going to publish this? It really depends. It's 21st of February, so you might have missed that when you are watching this. But stay tuned for Metaverse One and check out the recordings for the Teams Nation, because there's going to be something about the Metaverse One there. But yeah, so
Wow.
there are different communities, and then there's everything is connected as well. That's what I
Yeah.
want to bring as well, because I come from the collaboration side, and that's it. But that's why it's very natural to connect and bring in people from different domains together, because it's not something like mixed reality could do on their own. Yes, you can build cool stuff. That's thing, and you can be a very technical, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's going to be very like a siloed or its own place or own island, own island. But when you start bringing more capabilities, like how do you mix Power Platform or low code with the mixed reality? What you can do there, or mesh or virtual realities, metaverse. How do you do things like, okay, when I'm in the mesh world and I want to have this interactivity. So if I do there something happens in the real world. So how do you do that? We already did the Power Automate integration there.
Yeah.
So you can connect, you can do things, and then it launches the Power Automate with information. And what you can do with that? Anything you want, basically. So you can move data between to the mesh and back, and so I think it's important to understand these are like we are going towards the future work, and things are not the same. Like you can't expect to work with just SharePoint and I'm doing just this.
Yeah.
It's not going to
Yes.
happen. You can't even do that with Teams, and because Teams was a big focus, but like it was so big in the beginning because it was new. Now it's more broad and everybody's using that, and it's a platform and user interface and everything. So on its own, it's not the only thing. There's AI, there's Power Platform that's are
There's
enabling
Viva.
us to do a lot more. There's Viva,
Lots of
that's
Vivas.
going to, yeah, that's a big one, of course. Copilot is part of the AI, but Copilot is, of course, changing a lot of things, how we are working together, how we are interacting with computer. The funny thing is that once the language models came out, or the GPT-3, and it came popular,
Yep.
and when it's really started to hit my skull in that or my brain that okay, this is going to change a lot of things, because now we can talk to computers. Okay, people in English or US, UK have been doing that, but now the computer can actually understand what you are saying. And so you can ask complex stuff. So we are ending up in that situation where we can choose: are we talking to the computer, are we typing, are we using the interface? So the way we interact depends on our needs, and where we are. We might be walking, we can't use any interface, or we are driving, and we don't really, nobody really wants to see you doing Power Automate or anything when you are driving, or even using the Power Apps or anything. But if you can talk, okay, I want this to be done, or I can dictate a document, and I want to
speech
start this
recognition.
draft.
It's going to be a big part, no?
It's already there. And think about connecting people. The language differences. We are now using English. In the future, we might be using 3 different languages: Finnish, Hebrew, Hebrew and German, and then we could do that in Teams, but it would be slightly difficult now. But we can get live translations. So and going towards that future, it might be a language. We don't have to care about the language that much. Now it's not happening yet, because there's this. We noticed that the large language models are not that fast. So there's
what I meant. I need to perfect that still.
That's what needs to be done. But we are going towards that thing. And now, if you are a frontline worker, you are not necessarily typing or using that information. But what about if you are talking about what you are doing, and the AI can catch that up? Because that's already possible. I don't know if did you watch the check out what happened during the Ignite? Yes, I wrote a blog post about this. The Dynamics 365 Guides Copilot. So you are using HoloLens, and you are a maintenance person, and you can talk with a Copilot that can fetch in information, tell you troubleshooting information, point and ask, okay, what is this part? That's really something. Like breaking the limit using the AI, and that's an interface. Like that's, I think, because everything is connected, we are going to be needing more and more of these capabilities from everywhere. We need the Power Platform because there's huge number of business cases that needs to be optimized. They need to be more productive. That's the thing what Power Automate and Power Apps have been doing, I don't know, 9 years?
More or less,
more or less. Yeah, something like that. Or 10 years. So that's the thing. We are bringing new tools to fit in specific purposes, but we are also breaking out from that you need to use a specific user interface all the time. Because I definitely want to say about the Copilot is that when we start to extend Copilot and it's understanding what we are doing, that's when the Power Platform is coming in very hot. Power Automate extending, or Power Platform connectors are extending already Copilot. And so you can build them low code. And so now that you are walking somewhere, you are in Teams with your mobile phone, talking to the Copilot to do something, it can go to the backend system and do something. That's where we are aiming at, or heading.
Wow.
Okay, so our next meeting will be in Teams, in Mesh, each of one speaking their own language, and then Copilot doing the rest, right?
Copilot is just fixing everything. Not yet. Not next one, but two
I
tomorrow.
hope our next meeting will be face to face.
Or
Actually,
face to face, of course. That will be even better, of course.
hopefully
Yeah.
that would be the best thing with no technology, just shaking hands
Yeah.
and
Drinking a German
but-
beer, maybe.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, MVP Summit. That's one awesome place to meet a lot of people.
yeah,
I have already known online. That's one of the great perks of the MVP community as well, because you interact with so many people, and when you finally see them face to face, that's awesome. That's really fantastic.
Maybe if
Uh,
someday I manage to become an MVP, I will join.
yeah.
yeah,
Well, you have two
well, I don't
MVPs
doubt.
here. Maybe maybe we can see what we can do.
We
Uh,
can help. We will, because we are passionate about things. We can mentor and we can help. Like, okay, what you should be doing. But the most important thing is that you have the passion for sharing the knowledge, helping people. You have passion for the tech. You have passion for being part of the community and helping out people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you are just looking for, okay, I just want to learn for myself so I can use that in
Yeah, of
work,
course.
then it's not the community stuff. But
Definitely.
and you can progress on your career differently. But or in that sense, in the network, there's good things, and of course you are giving back to the community uh, as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing my YouTube channel and my blog posts for almost 3 years now. But yeah,
Mhm.
let's see.
Have you
Let's
have you
see.
spoken in any events yet?
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
yeah. Okay. So you're in a good track probably, and
but
I'm 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 working on it.
yeah.
but I
Uh,
think that the most important thing is, as you said, the passion. And if I wouldn't be MVP, I would continue to contribute and share my knowledge just because it's what I started doing and I enjoy. So it's nice to get the
yeah.
MVP, but the sharing with the community is something that you can do even if you're not. But I'm saying, yeah, you're good
Yeah.
enough, Ina. And last question, Vesco, can you share with us what you do besides tech? Do you do what do you like to do besides tech? And is there anything?
So you mean we have time for anything? Okay.
Uh, yeah.
Of course,
What
Well,
you do
we'll
besides tech,
make
even
time.
more tech.
I have a family,
I think we
so
need to make time for
yeah,
family
yeah,
and
yeah. Of course,
yeah,
family goes beyond the community generally. So, of course, or generally it goes beyond the community because it's more important, of course. And
yeah,
so that takes time, of course, and we want to give family time as well. But besides that, yeah, I do enjoy a couple of things. One of those is whiskey. Uh,
wow,
so I love different kinds of whiskeys, and yeah, I know there's Israel MHH whiskey. So you have pretty nice one too there. I've tasted it several times now, and then I love games. So that's kind of my. I like playing with. Well, I have PlayStation and now also the Xbox. So it's
oh,
decade going away to the different world and playing and
interesting.
no, I don't. Yeah, so it's fun. I'm in that generation that started to grow in 80s, or well, I was born in 70s, but yeah, I'm that old. But in 80s, I got my first computers and stuff. So of course we loved gaming, and so it's been there more or less all the time. Sometimes there has been a couple of years breaks, and then
Yeah,
I play something again. So it's not like something I can do every day or every week or even every month, but I do enjoy it when I can because
perfect.
that's me time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with whiskey, that's different. I love tasting whiskeys with group of people, and so you have the social aspect there. So
Have you
at the
met?
same time,
Have
yeah.
you met Maren Sommer
Oh yeah,
in
yeah, I know. Yeah,
the
yes,
Office Distilled? They talk
yeah,
about whiskey all day long, besides
yeah.
the tech. But
Yeah. I know. I met them in
they
person.
have a
We've
taste
had
each
whiskeys
time.
together. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. Maran and they are great.
And
They're super.
Steve Dalby. Dalby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does it go with a cigar or just a glass?
Mostly with just a glass, occasionally let's say very rarely a cigar, because there's several reasons, but it's
Yeah,
one of
health.
those things. It's health and not becoming addicted or anything, but also I like the scent during that, but not on the following hours,
Yeah,
say,
I
or
understand.
anything like that. So it's something like, okay, I want to do it very, very only a few times a year. So it's very rare.
Like a
So
special
Okay,
occasion.
our
yeah,
time is running out, and I really want to thank you, Vesco, for the time. You're one of the experts in the community worldwide, and I think lots of new goodies will come in the future. And I appreciate the time and the knowledge you shared with us. And thank you. And I invite all of my guests to view all of the other podcasts we do and see you in the next episode. So goodbye
yeah,
and
Goodbye.
thank you in here.
yeah.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.
And before you hit that stop button, of course, I want to say, if you didn't join Teams Nation, please check out the YouTube channel for that, and look out for Metaverse Fun that's coming later this year. So see you
We're
at the
going
Yeah,
community. Thank you for
we're
inviting
going
me.
to put it all in the
perfect.
video description as well. The links.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so goodbye.